Hello there everyone, and welcome back to this battle series focusing in on the 30 Years' War, and specifically the Swedish part of the 30 Years' War. So I'll go ahead and explain a bit about how this this series works, because I haven't done one in quite a while, and also I have quite a few new subscribers that might not know how this works. So we're not trying to reconstruct the battles during the different series I do. I've done the American Civil War. We usually go through as many of the important battles as possible, but it's not to reconstruct them. What we do is we take units on the battlefield and try to recreate the sort of start-off position of the battle as close as possible. But then when we actually play it, we play it to win. So although usually there is a bias towards who won the actual battle, but there has been a few change-ups. I know when I did the American Civil War, I've done quite a lot of those videos for this kind of battle series, that we had the Confederates winning battles that they lost, and the same for the Union winning battles where they lost, or stuff like that. Anyways, I hope I explained sort of how this works. Now I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the battle we're going to see. So we've already done two of these, but this, I believe, we've already done two battles in this battle series, although they were sieges. But this is the first field battle, quite excitingly, because we'll be able to feature the formations that were used. And in this case, we're looking at sort of what I'm able to set up to emulate is sort of the brigades here, and we've got the yellow brigade and we're going to have the blue brigade, and that's going to be the main forces. You see here we've got 3 pikes in the center, and then in this triangle system we've got musketeers. The main point in between, we'll see the Catholic formations later on, but most importantly is that the fact that we're able to, or the Swedish are able to put down a lot more musket fire than the Catholics. Although there weren't that big of a difference in between the way the two armies were set up, but there were a few. Maybe not as often perceived, that you sort of had the very large clunky formations on the Imperial side. That were very outdated compared to Gustav Adolphus. They used very sort of innovative formations, which wasn't the case. They were a lot similar than what is often sort of perceived. So that we saw it. Now I messed up the formation, and I was quite angry when I accidentally did this. But yeah, I'll set it up quick enough anyways. And so another thing that differs in between the armies is the caliber of the cannons. The Swedish are going to use lighter cannons, which I can maneuver quite quickly around the battlefield, and change sort of position and be able to put down quite a lot of fire in close support of my brigades, while the Catholics will use heavier artillery, but they're not as maneuverable, and as the battle progresses, they might not find themselves in a great position to actually deal damage to my brigades. And then on the flanks we will have cavalry, cuirassiers, which I believe both sides will be fielding here, showing their pistols. They'll ride around and fire. So the battle, I believe I said it was Breitenfeld. Did I say that? The thing is, I did this one just like a minute before, and I realized I hadn't recorded, so but yeah, this is Breitenfeld. is the battle we're going to look at, and the importance of it is the fact that this is sort of a turning point in the war, when the favor goes over from being in favor of the Catholics going over to favor the Protestant side, with Gustav Adolphus sort of leading it at this point. Yes, back to the actual formations and the battle. There's an important part missing in this battle, and that is I should really have a second player on my left playing the part of the Saxon force that were on the battlefield, but we decided not to take that into consideration, partly because the Saxons gave way pretty early on in the battle and ran away, leaving the Swedish to fight for themselves. Although when I say the Swedish force was made up a large part by mercenaries, and some of the mercenaries that we have actually gone ahead and shown in this battle is the Scottish mercenaries that we have here on the side of the Blue Brigade, where we have Mackay's regiment. We've got 1 unit of pike, 1 unit of musketeers here on the side on the Blue Brigade, which encompasses this all the way to this. And the battle has started. I sort of messed up the formation marching up, but it will look okay once we actually get down off this hill. We can take a look a bit on the Catholic formation. They're moving up their heavy guns at this point, which you can see is quite heavy compared with my small guns, but my small guns are a lot quicker to move into position. And here we can see the Catholic formations. We got thicker units of musketeers, and then we've got pike in the center, same over here, and then we've got another one over here, and they're now marching up together with the cavalry as well, marching up, and now the formations are moving in to meet each other on the field of battle to fight it out. So the Swedish side were commanded by Gustav Adolphus, and the Imperial side was commanded by Count Tilly. And in terms of forces, I believe that, maybe I should check my notes, but I do believe that the Catholic side, or the Imperial side if you want, had about 35,000 men, and then the Swedish combined with the Saxons had 42,000. Although once the Saxons ran away and they numbered about 18,000 Saxons, the sort of favor switched. Since you can probably do the math yourself. And we got the battle starting. We can see some of the Catholic batteries, or the Imperial batteries, have opened up on the Swedes, and now the Swedish musketeers as well open up fire. We see some fire by rank here by the Blue Brigade. One of the tactics used by the Swedish during this time was volley fire, where they enabled 3 ranks to fire at the same time for fire shock. And fire shock, if you sort of know Swedish military history, was something that we used throughout the period when we were considered a great military power. And here we can see the cavalry going up to each other, shooting each other at close range. And to start off, this is what we're just gonna do, because we weren't sure sort of who was gonna win here, so we're trying just to shoot the other one down. It's gonna turn out in a pretty historical way, sort of how the battle actually is gonna go, because, as I said, the Saxons gave way on the left, meaning the Catholics were able to push in on the left. and on the other side the Swedish were able to push on the right, and where the Swedish would move up, actually capture the Imperial gun positions, and then were able to lay gunfire in the backs of the Catholics, and thus ensuring victory. And they were able to hold off here on the left side. I believe they held for 7 attacks the Catholics tried. If you know the what's the band called now again? Sabaton. I believe they have a song about this battle where the lines is something about 7 times they attacked, 7 times they retreated, something like that. I haven't listened to it in a while. Probably should have. Maybe getting into the feel by listening to it. Anyways, we see the Catholic forces moving up the pikes now, since the Swedes are able to they're able to put down a lot more musket fire, which means that the enemy is going to have to attack or risk being completely annihilated. And so we can see the victory on the right, where our cavalry has actually sent the enemy cavalry off. But on the other side, we have the exact opposite, where I am actually losing the cavalry fight over here. I believe he put his stronger cavalry units on this side, with these black-coated knights. Got a Swedish flag in among it as well. Let's go ahead and check here. We've got one unit engaged with our cannons. We've got pikes going into our musketeers, and then the pikes are about to go at each other here. We've got one musketeer falling back. So my left side will be under heavy attack throughout the battle, which is once again sort of, it wasn't planned, but it just sort of happened, or maybe my opponent planned it to emulate what happened in the real battle. But my left side will be under heavy attack, but it will hold, and on my right side, the Blue Brigade, because I was able to get my cavalry free there, win the cavalry fight on that side. That was, I think, was that a... I'm not sure if that was musket fire going in that killed these guys, or it was cannonball. But since my cavalry got free reign on this side, we were able to rout quite a few units, which will enable the Blue Brigade to move up and later on sweep through the field. Historically, as I said, we were able to move up and take the cannon positions, but you can't do that in Total War, so. And here's a crazy Total War mechanic where apparently these guys decided to retreat straight into the Scottish mercenary pike line, and they got cut down quite nasty there. Oh, this one has actually lost one of its cannons. Ah, there it is. I guess it got hit by the by one of the heavier pieces of the Catholics here. We can see that that's quite a large. Ooh, that cannon, yeah, they didn't like him. They put a lot of bullets in him compared with the little cannon that I have. But as I said, mobility is king, and we were able to quickly move into... I didn't actually change position that much, but I guess I just got a better position to start off with for my cannons. And as you can see, my cavalry is wreaking havoc through attacking the exposed musketeers, as most of his pikemen are fighting in the battle here. These guys being surrounded by musketeers in the back and pikemen in the front. And complete chaos is going on all over here. Parts of the Blue Brigade marching up, since we need to support the yellow brigade, which is under heavy attack. And here, as the enemy is pushed so far in on my line that I've actually had to go ahead and push the king into the battle. So the king and his bodyguard are attacking some cuirassiers of the imperial force that have pushed through and attacking some troops that have fled from the front. And yeah, we can see my troops marching up, swinging down and crushing everything in their way. Same time over here. These guys are under heavy pressure, but they're about to gain support by this other yellow brigade, which were able to hold off the enemy and now free to go ahead and attack these guys. And we're actually able to sandwich this unit and attack it in the rear, which is going to be quite devastating consequences for this pike unit, since they're being attacked in the back. And we got even more since the blue brigade is now coming over as well. So we got 2 units here of pike men marching up, and over here we got the Scots. And at this point they've been more or less completely wiped out. There's only 23 men remaining, and there they give way. And these musketeers find themselves alone, facing a large amount of pikemen here from both the yellow and the blue brigade. And here comes the king as well, marching up, firing as he goes. Trying to hold for as long as possible, but then they're retreating right into the blue brigade and being taken prisoner, or I guess slaughtered. You can see the amount of bodies just lying here as the pikes have gone at each other. This unit only contains 28 men left. Not entirely sure these guys are shooting on some men fleeing up here. We've got some Scots, some Mackays, and some more Mackays marching up. And I believe the only unit standing now is Count Tilly himself. Not entirely sure which one of them is. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's him. But I think he's about, yeah, he's giving way. And the victory is complete. Sweden has won. I deployed 100 men less than, no, not even 100 men, 50 men less than the Catholics. And I only lost about half of what the Catholics lost. I lost 1,200 men, they lost 2,400. And 600 of those were prisoners. 25 of ours were taken prisoner by the enemy. Let's see, who killed the most? It was one of the blue brigade, actually one of the yellow brigade, believing that it is one of the musketeer units. It only lost 14 men, and it killed 253. Lowest kills, one of the blue brigade, that I guess wasn't used at all. They sustained 24 casualties, didn't kill anyone, but they did capture some prisoners, 61 prisoners, throughout the battle. They were possibly the worst, if you don't count the fact that this battery lost all its men and it only killed 2 enemies. Veterancy was gained by one of the Yellow Brigade, and veterancy was also gained by the cuirassiers on the right side. Anyways, this has been the Battle of Breitenfeld. I hope you enjoyed it. There is 3 more to go, which I have recorded. It's just about doing the commentary over them. So I hope you enjoyed this. Obviously I will take requests as well for battle series, but it's not it might take a while before I actually get to playing them. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!